start when you're young. You work hard. You develop your skills, your athleticism, and game knowledge. And when you get old enough, with a little bit of luck, you hit a growth spurt and receive a few Division I offers. With all 7 goals checked off your list, you hope you did enough to impress a few NBA scouts. Only you didn't. You play at the college level for the next few years, hoping that one day you receive a call and at the other end of the phone it's an NBA executive. Only it never happened. You declare for the NBA draft and you're projected to go undrafted. But something catches your attention. A college freshman whom you outperformed statistically in every measurable category, even in your freshman year, seems to be getting NBA scouts' attention in the first round. It feels like a punch to the gut. Is this fair, or simply the rules of the game? Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Swish Culture. Is it fair that Bronny James is getting attention from the NBA that Mac McClung never got? And what precedence does this seeming preferential treatment set for the league? You don't want to miss the rest of this video that will try to unravel what makes Bronny such an attractive prospect, while at the same time shunning a very similarly sized player who looks like the better prospect on paper. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get Is Bronny James getting preferential treatment compared to a player like Mac McClung due to his father? Or is there a legit reason why NBA teams are scouting Bronny as a potential first-round pick? This is a tough question, and in order to approach it without any bias, we're going to provide some context based on NBA history, film reviews, as well as some numbers to quantify what it means for both of these players to be where they are and whether or not this has any basis whatsoever. Now, while there have been sons of NBA players who themselves became NBA players, Kobe Bryant, Stephen Curry, and Jalen Brunson, just to name a few, none in recent memory have been quite as controversial as this. And that is primarily because Bronny's dad, LeBron James, is still in the league and has stated that he wants to play with his son before he retires. By all accounts, this does seem to be potential evidence of tampering and discussing NBA prospects. Although I suppose if Bronny isn't quite a true NBA prospect, then it's fair game. So will the NBA issue a fine to LeBron on draft night? That will likely never happen. Anyway, to make things even more complicated, LeBron James is still considered to be one of the best players in the league. So it goes without saying then that regardless of the talent of Bronny James, there will be discussions regarding LeBron's impact in getting his son drafted. If the two manage to play together, that will be an historic event in NBA history, so the likes of this has never been seen. These two players, Bronny James and Mac McClung, rose to prominence in very different ways. McClung through his viral high school dunk tapes, and James through, well, his dad. One player had a very marketable skill and the other had marketability. At least this is how it looks on the surface. While this will draw attention to the game of both players, however, they still need to prove that they're capable of hanging with the top players in their respective categories. Mac McClung got on NBA scouts' radars before he graduated high school. A 6'2" point guard with such elite athleticism, it was impossible to ignore what he was doing on the court. He wasn't only dunking, but also scoring at an elite level and breaking records, with one of the most notorious being Allen Iverson's Virginia scoring record, the most points in a single season. His viral videos and records led to him being recruited by top D1 colleges including Rutgers, LaSalle, and even Georgetown, where he finally decided to play. He was ranked as a 3-star prospect, meaning he had potential, but there were a few weaknesses to his game. His freshman year saw McClung start in all 29 games and average 13 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2 assists in 26 minutes per game, shooting 39% from the field. This wasn't enough to curtail scouts' opinions, so the solution was simple. He would return to college for a second year. While he showed a bit of improvement in his three-point shooting, going from 27% to 32% from deep, he also became less effective in the paint, and he only improved his scoring by about 2 points per game. He wasn't happy with his role at Georgetown, so he entered the transfer portal and went to Texas Tech. Unfortunately for McClung, things weren't much better. Again, his three-point shooting improved, but his overall scoring remained the same and his facilitating needed work despite getting more minutes. Something was missing from Mac's game, and it seemed he had no recourse. He would spend 1 year at Texas Tech before declaring for the NBA draft. It was risky, but considering the trouble he had showing improvement at the college level in consecutive years, staying a fourth year and possibly regressing was only going to hurt his stock. He went undrafted and bounced around between summer league teams and the G League, where he currently plays for the Areola Magic. What's his weakness? His defense. While Mac isn't a slouch when it comes to being active on defense, he doesn't really have the ability to guard well in a half-court set. His one-on-one defense will tend to expose him when he goes up against quick guards who will blow by him due to his low foot speed, and with a short wingspan, it makes him more likely to get hit with a reach-in foul than to break the ball loose and get on a fast break. It doesn't help that he's only 6'1.25", however, which makes it difficult for him to guard taller players. That does not mean he can't create fast break opportunities, however. Mac can be a very disruptive defender when it works in his favor. When going up against players with weak offensive packages, Mac is able to assert himself defensively and force turnovers. His plays in transition make him a huge threat in the run-and-gun type of situation. The problem is that the NBA focuses more on set defense and set plays, which puts him at his weakest. Even backup players in the NBA have very strong offensive games that can pose a problem for Mac. But something changed recently for McClung, and it is that he recently became the G League's MVP for the 2023-24 season. Mac has never had a better shot of signing a full contract to a team, as this means he's the best player currently in the G League. It would be the first time since Ron Howard in 2014 that a G League MVP didn't get offered a guaranteed contract if Mac isn't picked up for this coming season. With season highlights including a 44-point outburst, his highest scoring in the G League, it may be time to overlook some of Mac's weaknesses and give him an NBA opportunity. These clips highlight just how much he's improved on that end of the floor. His improved three-point shooting, and his facilitating, averaging 25.7 points, just under 5 rebounds, and almost 7 assists in 35 minutes a night. Since Mac has worked his way up and has done every last thing he could to get a shot at the NBA, it could be argued that Mac deserves more of a look at this point than Bronny James. Now here is where it gets interesting. Mac's biggest weakness appears to be Bronny's biggest strength. Before that, however, let's take a look at what got Bronny here in the first place. The younger James has been in the public spotlight for pretty much his entire life. With his dad constantly being discussed in sports media, it was only natural they kept an eye on his kids, who seemed very interested in following in their father's footsteps. Bronny never really stood out in the box scores, but watching film shows a few interesting things about the 19-year-old. If his name wasn't Bronny James, son of LeBron James, it's likely he would get overlooked by scouts. In all actuality, even the name alone wouldn't be enough, as reports everywhere for the last few years have Bronny listed as being 6'4". His recent combine results say that's not even close to the truth. Bronny was measured at 6'1.5" without shoes, just a quarter of an inch taller than Mac, who was officially measured to be 6'1.25" without shoes. He might not have gotten as far as the combine if scouts realized how small he was. That extra height, even an inch, feeds into the potential a player has. Taller players are always considered to have more potential and higher ceilings, all else being equal. Now, since Bronny's stats didn't pop off the charts in high school, his first year in college would be crucial. After suffering a health scare with a cardiac arrest, something I covered in a video that is now highlighted on your screen, and missing the start of the season, Bronny finally made his way onto the court. He played a total of 25 games, mostly coming off the bench, with a stat line that would reflect that of a very below average Division I player who's coming off the bench. Less than 5 points, less than 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Compared to Mac's box scores, it looks like we're talking about 2 players in 2 completely different leagues. These numbers would not get any player second looks at the gym. However, this is the son of LeBron James. LeBron has some great aspects to his game that, if translated, could make Bronny a very serviceable player in the league. Potentially. While LeBron's biggest advantage is his size, this obviously hasn't translated and could be a problem unless Bronny has a growth spurt, which isn't necessarily improbable. LeBron is 6'9", and while his mom Savannah is around 5'5" to 5'7", 6'1.5" is on the very short side of expected height for Bronny James. If you recall, Dennis Rodman didn't hit a growth spurt until he was 20, and if Bronny suddenly puts on 4 to 5 more inches, it's a whole new ballgame. The court vision hasn't yet translated as a primary facilitator, but an increase in height could open up his game, allowing him to be more dominant inside the paint by using his floor spacing ability to create his own driving lanes. This could open up his ability to see the floor and improve his ability to facilitate. What he does have currently is a very disciplined and dominant defense. With a 6'7" wingspan, quick feet, and very good defensive instincts, this skill is already at an NBA level. He has the ability to stay in front of his man on drives, he talks to his teammates, and shows a good aptitude when it comes to reading and picking apart plays. Every team needs a good defender, and perimeter defenders especially can come at a premium. It's the reason why Gary Payton II was so effective for Golden State. It's the reason why Drew Holiday is such an important player for teams looking to win championships. If you can guard the best player on the opposing team, regardless of your other skill sets, there's a spot for you on a team. So what are NBA scouts saying about Bronny? One NBA scout has him as a poor man's Davion Mitchell coming out of the combine, although Mitchell did spend a few years in college to Bronny's one, so I'd expect that to improve, especially coming off a life-altering incident. The Phoenix Suns, who have a first-round pick at 22, have invited the younger James in for a workout for a total of 10 invites. This is important to note because Rich Paul has come out as saying that Bronny is not interested in signing a two-way contract. There are so many that he's had to decline offers from teams. How do we go from a player who wouldn't get second looks based on his college play to his declining workouts? Players like that would be dying to get a workout from any team, but clearly he has his pick of what team he'll be going to play for. That short list seems to include Phoenix and LA. It's obvious why he's getting this much attention, however, and it's that when teams draft LaMelo Ball, they also get love.
Explosion.
Man, what the f*** is you talking about?
What the f*** was that?
Oh, whoops. Sorry guys, wrong script. When teams draft LeBron James, they get LeBron James, Jr. and Sr. respectively. The payout for selecting Bronny is big, so it's value for both sides. Bronny gets to be drafted into the NBA, the team gets LeBron James, who's still a top 20 player, both get to play together, and the team creates NBA history, and Bronny could potentially be something special if he hits a growth spurt that puts him north of 6'5" or 6'6". If he waits till next year or after that, that's no longer a selling point for Bronny, and his NBA stock and potential of being drafted falls significantly. Not to mention if LeBron's level of play diminishes in that time frame. So with that being said, for very different reasons, I do expect both players to get a guaranteed NBA contract next season. While this seems a lot like nepotism on Bronny's account, it isn't without merit. There are benefits for the team that drafts him. In general, however, that's how anything is. To get ahead, it's about who you know, not necessarily what you know. And Bronny's connections have put him into some elite category, which will maximize his value as an individual. So remember folks, network so you can maximize your value as an individual, and as they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. Let me know which one of these players you would want on your team if both were available. Is it unfair that Bronny is getting all this attention as compared to Mac? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.